Chris, thank you very much as we welcome everybody back to Columbia, Missouri at the Hearnes Center. And the Tigers with 49 in the first half, not bad for the #1 team in the nation, but Rutgers hanging right with them. And Dan Bonner, these guys have been unconscious, both teams tonight, shooting threes.
Rutgers, probably their only chance in this basketball game was to create a perimeter game, and that's what they've done defensively. They've gotten a real good first half from a couple people. Earl Duncan has done a nice job penetrating inside. You see Duncan here on the penetration. Bunton has to pick him up, and that leaves Keith Hughes wide open. Hughes, playing center for Rutgers, has 5 3-point baskets. The Scarlet Knights really forcing the ball game to the perimeter. For the Missouri Tigers, they like to go inside on offense, but they have not been able to. Anthony Peeler with a big first half, scoring from 3-point range. He, however, has 2 personal fouls.
Most of his scoring came early, as did most of the great shooting. Rutgers is still over 50%, but Missouri is not. And Nathan Bunton has 11 of Missouri's 22 rebounds, 6 more than the Knights have. Turnovers have not been a big factor in the game, but tough down-low defense has.
Well, it sure has. Rutgers has not turned the ball over too many times. In this defense, they've really done a nice job preventing Missouri from getting inside. Look at Doug Smith. As he gets the ball in there, he's got somebody right in his face. That's normally a shot that he would make, but that defense makes it so tough for him to function in there that Missouri's really had some problems. It'll be interesting to see what adjustments they make.
Along with the 3 points and 2 fouls, 4 rebounds for Doug Smith in the first half of play this evening. So the Rutgers Knights have done everything they've wanted to do on the road, but they still trail by 3. They'll meet the Tigers again when we return.
Automobile dealer, and by Budweiser and Bud Light will bring you Bud Bowl 2. This time it's warm.
With Dan Bonner, Bob Carpenter. Welcome back to the Hearnes Center in Columbia, Missouri. #1 Mizzou by 3 over Rutgers. The Knights come into this game 8-9 on the season this evening. But in every sports poll around the nation, AP, UPI, and others, the Tigers are #1. But where does that leave Rutgers? Playing very well tonight. A team not even at the 500 mark and hanging right with one of the best teams in the nation on their home court, where they've been almost unbeatable, and they've won 28 consecutive games against non-conference opponents.
Just about every court in the Big 8 is a difficult place to play when you're on the road. Here, Rutgers, you can see the problems that they have when they're not leading at halftime. They're, of course, behind by 3 at halftime. Let's remember, Rutgers last year was 10-12, then rattled off 8 wins in a row to get themselves into the NCAA tournament. So this is a team that is still developing. In a game like this, if they can hang in here the second half, particularly if they pull off the upset, this would have to do a lot for the Rutgers program, particularly this team this year.
You would have to think so. Some of those Jersey guys would stay home. Great players out of that state.
We talked about, for Bob Wenzel, how his 2 big-time players, Duncan and Hughes, had to have big-time games. They've got 15 apiece at halftime and are leading the way for the Scarlet Knights.
There's Hughes. Watching him is Nathan Bunton, and just what you don't want out of the locker room. A turnover as he traveled a good 25 feet from the basket.
Well, of course, that's when where he's been most dangerous, is 25 feet from the basket. Bunton out playing very tough against him. Here's that 2-3 zone again.
McIntyre for Peeler. There's Smith. Doug Smith. So the 2 worst things that could happen to Rutgers: a turnover and Doug Smith right onto the scoreboard.
Real crisp passing by the Missouri Tigers. Beat the zone. That's one of the few times they've been able to get the ball in there.
And their lead stays at 5 on the miss. Jones picking up the miss, missing, and on the baseline with the travel was Lee Perry.
Rutgers continues to battle on the boards, but you're right, Bob. This is a very key stretch of the game for Rutgers. They don't want Missouri to get off on a roll here and get way down.
Either right wing, Coward, baseline right. What's a 6'1" guy doing open down there?
Well, what he's doing down there is running through the zone, coming back out on the baseline. That's something that 2-3 zone is not designed to handle. That is Coward down inside.
Nice turnaround. Earl Duncan with 17 this evening. 4 over his average already. There's Coward penetrating. Button receives it. I don't know if it was blocked or just short, but that was good D by the Knights.
Good recovery by Rutgers. Usually penetration will kill a zone, but Rutgers recovered nicely.
Hughes open, short on the three. Perry after it, and into the crowd it goes. It'll belong to Missouri.
Hughes 5 of 6 from three-point range in the first half, 0 of 2 in this half. People going after the basketball right here.
Looked like off the left foot of Lee Perry.
Looked like also Perry had his foot out of bounds when he touched the ball. There's Jay McGinnis.
He's been running a shuttle in and out with Tom Everston as they bring the big guys one at a time. There's Peeler dishing and missing the layup. Was Smith. Bunton kept it alive though for Mizzou. Back out more offense from McIntyre as they got 45 more on the shot clock. Coward thought about it from three. And Keeler back to McIntyre. There's Doug Smith. And it was slapped out of his hands by Donnell Lumpkin.
A little bit different look in the zone defense for Rutgers, Bob. They're lining up in almost a 1-2-2 zone, and then they're sort of matching up against Missouri.
McIntyre open on the inbounds play for a 2, and he has 18.
He's just had a marvelous game, and Earl Duncan dribbles the ball to half court, calls timeout.
First timeout used by either coach tonight. It comes 2:19 into the second half. Missouri's biggest lead, 7, 55-48. Half, Mizzou by 7, and a shooting match tonight with John McIntyre doing it for the Tigers. He just hit a 2 for 18, and Duncan has a field goal since intermission. 17 for the Scarlet Knights.
McIntyre was the only one of the Missouri starters who did not score 20 on Saturday against Kansas. He saved it for today.
There's a whistle foul. Keith Hughes on the shot. It appeared to be a foul away from the ball. The Antlers are out in full force tonight. One of the more interesting groups of students in America, and that's probably the best way to describe them and not get them too mad at you. They can be a brutal group if you're an opposing team. Darrell Smith back in. Hughes at the line after the foul from Nathan Bunton, his first.
Hughes really hasn't been doing too much operation inside offensively. That's a real good move by Bob Wenzel to post him down inside. Have him attack Bunton and Smith in there. Hughes did all his damage from three-point range in the first half, but as we mentioned, he's cooled off in the second half, so why not stick him inside, see what he can do.
Knights are 5 out of 7 from the line. Missouri had 9 more free throws in the first half than did Rutgers as the Knights go full court with the press. And now as Missouri gets it in, they get down court.
1-2-1-1 press now. Back into that 2-3 zone.
Howard from McIntyre. In for Smith. He lost it, but it was out of bounds off the Knights. McGinnis was defending against Smith there. Also scrambling in was Darrell Smith.
McGinnis out of bounds. Now he watched the zone, trying to stay inside.
And then on the ensuing inbounds play, Nathan Bunton opened down deep. His first field goal of the night. His 7 points put the Tigers up by 7. And a stuff by McIntyre on Mike Jones.
We talked about the athletic ability of John McIntyre that time, moving his feet very well, getting up and blocking the shot of Mike Jones.
Duncan to Jones. McGinnis baseline right, kicked back out on top by Darrell Smith. Jones into the paint. McIntyre all over him, got his own. Loose ball somehow finds Duncan 30 feet away. And he penetrates to score. He's their go-to man tonight.
Boy, good scrap by Jones to keep that ball alive.
Peeler and Coward playing catch on the right side. Peeler got his man off the floor. Coward for 3. And Lee Coward has 13 tonight.
Boy, the perimeter game for Missouri has really come on strong today.
You know, this versatility of theirs, Dan, is bad news for the rest of the league because everybody's going to be keen on their inside game.
You figure that's a smart move, but these guys have just been murdered from the perimeter tonight. Nice defense by Bunt.
Ooh, Smith drains a three from outside. That was a 2. We'll correct it. His first field goal of the night. Peeler got a man down, and he hits from the right side. Anthony Peeler with 16.
He made that look awfully easy, but he dribbled in there. The guy fell down. The guy's underneath his feet. He still goes up for the jump shot and buries it.
Duncan short, missed everything. Here come the Tigers. McIntyre to the glass, and he didn't use the glass, but Smith is there for the follow. McIntyre went with a finger roll, and Smith now has 7 points. Tigers into double figures lead. They've never been that far ahead this evening. McIntyre with a reach-in foul.
Doug Smith, you see right there, was in pretty good position to draw the offensive foul, but that's 2 times in this ball game that we've seen the officials call somebody for reaching in just before a Missouri defender is able to draw the charge.
Craig Carter and Lee Perry back in for Rutgers.
Rutgers really needs a hoop badly here.
Down by 10. At the half, it was a 3-point spread. Carter traveled.
You just get the sense that Missouri is taking control of this basketball game. Bob Wenzel probably has the same feeling and is not very pleased about it. In the second half, Bob, Missouri has done an excellent job moving the basketball against this zone.
Nathan Button off of McIntyre, feet unable to hit. Boards were cleared by Lee Perry. Duncan to Hughes. Whoa! How fast did he get in for the slam? Even the Antlers were silenced on that one. To the baseline, Nathan Button dribbling it off his leg. Out of bounds, and Rutgers can get it back close. They're down by 8.
Nathan Button and Doug Smith are a great combination in that high-low passing game, but that time Smith didn't do his buddy any favors because he threw him the ball. He was surrounded by 4 Scarlet Knight defenders.
Duncan got it back from Perry. Now he penetrates, double pumps, and what a move. Earl Duncan with 21.
Duncan and Hughes answering the call right there. Rutgers down 10. Now they've cut it back to 6.
Peeler, nice little one-touch into Button across the key for Smith. And luckily for the Tigers, they still have the ball. Duncan hustling, almost coming up with the steal.
Zone reacting very well. Button got the ball inside, didn't really turn to the basket. Zone doing a nice job. There's Coward for 3. He's got it.
Lee Coward with 16 tonight.
If you're on defense playing against Missouri, you can just never relax. They're playing in that zone. You figure they're just throwing the ball inbounds just to get it inbounds, and bingo, Coward buries it.
Missouri's 11th three-pointer there ties a school record for one game. 33 of their points off the three-point shot this evening.
Well, a good basketball team will take advantage of its opportunities, and those are the opportunities with which Rutgers has presented Missouri.
Inside, Duncan from Smith. Doug Smith blocks Perry. Here come the Tigers, 4-on-2 and traveling on Coward. He reversed his field, but that might have worked next door on the football field, but over here you've got to put it on the floor.
He had a defender in his path, just was figured before he dribbled it, he'd just step around him. And
well, he found the open hole. The ball just never went to the floor quickly enough.
That's a good move as long as the air doesn't go in the whistle.
9-point spread. Missouri 67-58. Clock runs with 12:35 remaining. Alley-oop, sort of. Perry waits for his man to get off the floor, and Lee Perry has 7 tonight. I guess you call that a line drive alley-oop, huh?
Smith really put a body into the Rutgers offensive player trying to go to the top of the key. Wasn't guarding Perry at all. Perry stepped in.
Smith stuffed down low. Coming away, Craig Carter. Knights are running. Darrell Smith penetrates. Loses it to Doug Smith. This is a 4-on-2. 14-foot jumper. And it wouldn't go, and we almost had offensive goaltending on Peeler.
That's a 6'10" guy handling the ball in the middle of a fast break. Dribbles it through traffic, pulls up for a jump shot.
We'll see how costly that is to Mizzou, up by 7. Rutgers hanging tough. Hughes, little dipsy-do in the key. Got his own, the score and the foul.
Hughes and Duncan basically, Bob, taking over the ball game for Rutgers with some one-on-one moves. Hughes just beats Bunton. This is a great spin move. McIntyre very nearly gets the ball. Comes right back to Hughes. Bunton doesn't really block him out, and then Smith gets the foul, and Smith is going to have to sit down.
His third with number 34. McIntyre will sit, so will Coward.
If you're Nathan Bunton on that particular play, you've got to make sure that even though the guy has beaten you to the basket, that you get in good rebounding position, and Bunton did not.
Hughes with a three-point play. He has 22, and it's a 4-point game with 11:41 remaining in the second half from Columbia, where the #1 Tigers have all they want.
At one point in the second half by 10, has battled back to within 4 on the strength of some good moves by Earl Duncan, and this guy right here looked like he had a couple of steps in there, but heck, when it looks like this, that's all right. Dunks the ball, hits himself on the head. Just a great play by Hughes.
He almost headed the ball back out of the cylinder. That's how quickly it came down. A big-time move by Hughes, who has 22. Duncan has 21, and the Tigers have their hands full, up by 4 with 11.5 remaining.
And this is a critical stretch for Missouri right here. They've got 3 substitutes in the ball game right now, playing with starters Peeler and Bunton.
There's an air ball from Peeler. Might have been partially blocked on the baseline left.
Missouri lines up in that man-to-man. Rutgers, a nice recovery, and that's a walk.
Carter passed on the jumper and traveled.
Travis Ford, number 5 in the ball game for Missouri, along with 32 Jamal Coleman, 35 Sutton.
Coleman at the high post, and a reach-in foul on Mike Jones. It'll be number 3 on him.
Coleman doing a nice job coming hard to the basketball in that high post area.
Earl Duncan, 21 on the night.
Number 4, Lee Coward.
Lee Coward back in for the Tigers. He has 16 this evening. Role player Travis Ford has given him a couple of breathers tonight as he sits back down. Tiger crowd a little quiet here. They expected this one to be out of the question by now. They thought they'd be romping to a big win. Peeler too strong with the 3. Loose ball lost there by Brad Sutton, and the Scarlet Knights down by 4 still with a chance to cut it in half.
And it's been Hughes and it's been Duncan.
And look at Jones penetrate. It rolled in. Daryl Smith almost tipped it up there, but let it go, and luckily for the Knights, it fell in the cylinder.
And Missouri has seen their lead shrink to 2.
Peeler inside, Sutton, and he was fouled. On the foul, looks like Daryl Smith with his second of the night. From non-conference play to the SEC we go tonight. Bama, great win over LSU on Sunday. They'll take on the Volunteers of Tennessee. David Benoit for the Tide, and 3-point bomber Greg Bell for the Vols tonight. Bama and Tennessee, great rivalry in that league.
And we've certainly seen some 3-point bombing here tonight, Bob.
Wow. Yeah, Greg Bell, what are you going to do to follow this game up? We've got about 5 or 6 3-point bombers here tonight. Snipers all over the place. NBA action now in third period play. In the East, Miami and Phoenix are at the half.
Hold up here is while the officials get it straight with the scorers table who that last foul was called on. It was 32 Smith getting the foul. Smith back in the ball game now. All the starters back in for Missouri.
As we wrap up the NHL scores for you following Sunday's All-Star game. All the details later tonight on SportsCenter, and they're traveling there by Lee Coward. So now the team's starting to swap some turnovers, and that's something we just haven't seen much from Norm Stewart's team. Or from Bob Wenzel's squad tonight. They have really taken care of the ball pretty well.
That mantle of number one getting a bit heavier and heavier as the game goes on here, Bob.
Turnaround. Hughes, short, rebound, running, Peeler, down the court, Coward, finger roll, and the follow. And there's goaltending on Perry. They'll probably get the basket to Button.
There was 6 Missouri hands, almost elbows up over the rim on this play. Nice defense causes Coward to miss, but look at this. Smith hangs on the rim there, gets away with it.
Might have been Peeler with the final shot before the goaltending. Peeler now with 18 points.
Smith with a block.
McIntyre. McIntyre lost control. It belongs to the Scarlet Knights. McIntyre claiming it was slapped out of his hands, but the official ruled he just fumbled it out of bounds.
When you're on the fast break, Bob, if you don't have anything, you want to pull up at the foul line, take a look, see where you are. McIntyre just kept going to the basket and had the ball stripped away, went off his legs out of bounds.
69-65, 9:15 remaining. Hughes up strong, too strong with the jumper. Darrell Smith keeps it alive, and back on top they go for 45 more.
It was a Smith screen that got Hughes open in the first place. Smith doing a nice job on the offensive boards as well.
And Smith with the steal. Loose ball, though, for Carter. Can't get it to fall. Offensive rebound, and from behind, Smith hammers his man, or was it McIntyre?
I believe the foul is going to be called against McIntyre, trying to strip the basketball as Perry has it underneath. Great effort by Rutgers on the board. Smith, number 32, that's Duncan with the basketball. Doing a nice job inside from the guard position.
Rutgers has spent another timeout, 8:55 left, 69-65, Missouri.
I'm Dan Patrick in New Orleans. Coming up on...
All right, Dan, we look forward to your reports later tonight. Dan with Chris Myers and TJ down in New Orleans, and Bob Lee from the studio. Media Day as they get ready for the Super Bowl at the Superdome. Got a pretty super game going here tonight. Every single poll, that is correct. It is a unanimous #1 for Missouri, but it's in jeopardy here tonight. Earl Duncan with 21 already tonight at the line after the foul by McIntyre.
It's amazing the way Rutgers just keeps hanging in the basketball game. Every time it looks like Missouri's taking control, Duncan hits a big three. Duncan hits a big shot. Hughes hits a big shot. It's just been a tremendous effort by the Scarlet Knights.
23 for Earl Duncan. 2-point game again. Missouri 69, Rutgers 67. Coward out there with Peeler, Smith, McIntyre, and Button.
Rutgers doing a nice job communicating on defense. If you watch them playing defense, they're pointing and talking to one another, which is what you have to do when you're going to play that kind of a game.
Smith with the slam on the alley-oop. The other Smith, Darrow, had fallen down. It was an open avenue to the hoop.
Darrow gives up about 5 inches to Doug, so I think it was a no contest any way you look at it.
At the other end, we have a reach-in foul.
Foul is going to be against Nathan Bunton, and just as Rutgers has done the entire game, you'd look for them in this situation almost. That big dunk by Smith, the crowd really gets going. Maybe they give up a little bit, but no, they go right down, put it in the hands of Hughes, who draws the foul.
Hughes, and Bunton gets another foul.
Nathan Bunton less than happy with the call, but Hughes doing a great job getting himself positioned down inside.
I was straight up, he indicates 2 or 3 times. Hughes will go to the line as Bunton has his 3rd personal.
You never want to confess your guilt, Bob.
Keith Hughes with his 23rd point of the night. This is the 9th time this year he's been over 20. His high, 35 against Virginia Tech, so he has that explosive capability. Missouri by 2, 71-69, down near the 8-minute mark remaining. Howard and McIntyre. Mack open down deep, and he snuck it over the iron.
Great catch inside by McIntyre. You've got to have some strength to play in there. McIntyre showing he's got some right there.
Smith for Perry. Way out there. And a 3 drained by Keith Hughes. 27 for him tonight. Too strong from Coward, keeping it alive. Bunton, and he sneaks it in. Nathan Bunton with 9 tonight. Missouri so tough on the boards.
Pretty high skill level right there to get the rebound. As he went up, he lost the ball, but recovered it and still put it in the basket.
Here's Hughes freelancing. Short. Got it back. Peeler was flat-footed on the rebound. And Peeler now scrambles with Daryl Smith.
Looks like Peeler's going to pick up that foul. Bob, we saw Nathan Bunton down on the offensive end get an offensive rebound and put it in the basket. On the defensive end, he played pretty good defense up until the point when Hughes shot the ball. Then he didn't block him out. So Hughes actually got the first rebound and created that situation where Peeler picked up the foul. You've got to block out, particularly a guy like Hughes.
Daryl Smith with 3 tonight. Out of Shelton, Connecticut, his father, Dave, a wide receiver in the pro ranks with the Steelers, the Oilers, and the Chiefs in years past. And this guy is a football type when he comes in. Coach Wenzel says he makes things happen one way or the other. After his miss, they get the offensive rebound with a chance to tie or take the lead with a 3. Baseline left, and Carter equalizes this one. His 4th points of the night. And it's 75 all with 6:40 remaining.
And you can just see the Rutgers players, their confidence level rising once again.
Entry pass, McIntyre to Smith. We had a whistle. Looks like they're pointing at Earl Duncan, who hurt his wrist on the play.
He's got that wrist taped coming in, and he really looks like he's in pain. At the end of the game, you give the ball to your horses. Here's Smith, what strength, getting that ball up through about 4 hands there, very nearly rolling it in.
They cannot afford to lose Duncan for the rest of this game. This is a team already without 18 points and 9 rebounds tonight from 2 players who are not eligible to play. Points for Doug Smith tonight, 10 as they continue.
Now you can
let the trainer as they continue to look at Earl Duncan.
Well, if you're Earl Duncan, you do not want to come out of this basketball game. You grit your teeth, you tape it up, and you go.
He's already got it taped, though. We'll see what he does now.
Tape it tighter.
Tape the tape. 2-point game, 6:20 remaining.
Missouri turning up the defensive tempo. Nice job by Rutgers to settle into the half-court offense.
Boy, Carter flashing into the lane. Can't hit it. Smith hanging in the air. Peeler almost knocked away. McIntyre down the court. 3-on-3. He'll pull up for the jumper.
Nice job by McIntyre to get control of the basketball with the dribble. Excellent stop and pop.
McIntyre with a new career high of 22 tonight. 12 over his average. And the Missouri faithful making the Hearnes Center rock. Hughes, Carter, Perry down deep. And the rebound by Bunton, and he is fouled. No, they're pointing at Nathan Bunton. And that will be 3 in short order for him in this half, and 4 in the game.
One official pointed at Nathan Bunton. Here's Perry operating against Bunton. Look at Peeler flying through there. I believe the foul is called against Carter. You can see the official pointing at Carter right there. And the reason they were pointing at Bunton was the player who was fouled, Bob. So had it been a 1-and-1, the officials always trying to make sure they know who's supposed to be going to that free throw line. The foul against Carter, 23. he goes out of the ball game. Duncan is back in.
His second. Bunton still with 3 for Missouri.
Five minutes, 15 seconds left in the ball game.
Howard. Alley-oop in there, and too many red jerseys.
He didn't oop it quite high enough.
Well, Rutgers doesn't match up from that standpoint down there and enable them to get the steal. Here's Hughes. Turnaround, baseline left too strong. Skying for the offensive board and not getting it. Darrell Smith out of bounds on him.
That time you saw Bunton and Smith double team against Hughes. That was an extremely difficult shot. Good defensive adjustment by Missouri. Every time down it's been Hughes or Duncan, so it's a good idea to make sure those guys are covered up.
Peeler for 3. 21 for Anthony, and Missouri opens it up to 7 with 4.5 minutes remaining. Rutgers has 2 more timeouts to use tonight.
Missouri's run off 7 in a row, Bob.
Duncan into the lane, and Earl Duncan, sore wrist and all, has 25 points tonight.
And those 7 in a row that they've run off have been with Duncan out of the basketball game. With Duncan back in, he answers immediately. He's been doing that all evening.
Coward trying to force it inside for Bunton. Scarlet Knights took it away, and here they come. Duncan for Jones. Smith, he's got to make that shot with Hughes cutting off the defense. That was only about a 10 or 12 footer.
10 or 12 footer against the #1 team in the country with a couple minutes left in the game is a lot harder than it sounds.
Clock at 3.5. 5-point spread.
Missouri making sure they get set in the offense. Going to try to move that defense around.
Shot clock to 15. Howard and Peeler. McIntyre. Shot clock inside 10. Howard well long with it. Easy rebound for Lee Perry. Here comes Duncan for Smith. Got the roll. Darrell Smith has 5. Knights know they're still in it, down by only 3 as the clock runs by 2:50 remaining.
Duncan once again, Bob, he didn't get the hoop on that one, but he did the penetration, made the pass.
Well, Duncan had 71 assists coming into the game and averaging 31 minutes per outing, only turns the ball over 2 times per game.
He's really put on a show this evening.
Most of it in the scoring column. And there's a steal by Hughes, but Doug Smith got it back for Missouri. And then a moving foul along the baseline as Darrell Smith is called for his 3rd.
Not a very good pass inside by Anthony Peeler, but sometimes you got to pick up your teammates, and Smith did right there, getting that recovery, drawing the foul.
Timeout on the floor. 2:26 remaining. Rutgers out of the Atlantic 10, hanging tough with the #1 team.
Dear Dad, I know you...
And down the stretch, Anthony Peeler has stepped forward once again. Peeler has done a great job from beyond the 3-point line, wide open, just drills that baby. He's got 21. He's having a tremendous basketball game.
And he can beat you in so many games. The assists, the steals, the points, 21 tonight, and also free throws. He was 14 of 14 against Kansas on Saturday. That's the win that gave Missouri the #1 ranking. Travis Ford is back in at the point with McIntyre. So Lee Coward gets a breather with just over 2 minutes remaining. Missouri by 3, 82-79.
You talk about Peeler's versatility. He's playing the high post now. Cuts out of the high post to the wing.
Shot clock inside 15.
Peeler's alone.
Not for long. McIntyre with a man in his face. 25 for McIntyre, another career high, and he was being defensed that time. That was not an open 3.
Shows a great shooting touch.
Missouri by 6. 1:30 remaining. And Duncan answers. 28 for Earl Duncan.
Boy, what an effort by Rutgers. Every time you think they're dead, here they come again. Another big possession for Missouri.
And you can't say the Tigers have lacked the killer instinct tonight. They certainly have. But Rutgers keeps getting up off the floor. Norm Stewart uses his first timeout, coming with 1:09 remaining. The timeout situation is this: Missouri has 3 remaining, and Rutgers has 2.
The Missouri Tigers of Norm Stewart have shown you every weapon in their arsenal tonight, Bob. They've been able to get the ball inside, not as frequently as they would like, but in the second half, Doug Smith has been able to get open in there a little bit more than in the first half. But the 3-point field goals, McIntyre, Coward, Peeler, playing very well from the perimeter for Missouri. And you'd have to say this man right here came in with a great game plan to cut off the inside. But John McIntyre, a career-high 25. That's not a short 3-point shot, by the way. That's a good 3-4 steps behind that line with somebody in his face. And if the Tigers are able to hang on and win here, it'll be in no small part due to the play of John McIntyre.
Norm Stewart's team 11 of 18 from 3-point range. Rutgers is 9 out of 16. Bob Wenzel, what a turnaround at Rutgers. They were 7 and 22 2 years ago. He came in last year and got them in the NCAA. A magical season, he called it, as they finished 3rd in the Atlantic 10. The Golden Girls doing their job as well tonight, as they always do. But what a job by the 2 clubs on the floor, especially the visitors, hanging tough with the nation's top-ranked team this evening. Missouri basketball with 1:09 remaining, and they lead by 3.
McIntyre out of the ball game, forward in.
Missouri now using the entire half of the court. There's the shot clock, lower left, game clock, lower right. Tigers lead it by 3. Peeler, Ford kicks it inside for Smith. Great assist by Travis Ford. Doug Smith has 13.
The key there was the quickness of the pass. Rutgers didn't have a chance to get set.
Answering with a jumper is Darrell Smith, and he has 7.
25 seconds.
3-point game. And a foul in the backcourt on Earl Duncan, his second. Time may run out on the Scarlet Knights tonight, but this is a team in the middle of the Atlantic 10 at 4 and 3, hanging tough with the nation's best. Temple and UMass are the top 2 teams in that league, followed by Rhode Island, and then a 4th-place tie with Rutgers, West Virginia, and Penn State. But they look like a potential NCAA team the way they're playing here tonight. 21 seconds remaining. 2 key conference doubleheaders. St. John's and Providence hook up in a Big East battle, and North Carolina and Duke face off in an ACC clash coming up on Wednesday. ACC Big East Wednesday at 7 Eastern, starting live on ESPN tomorrow evening. And we've got the SEC coming up later on after Norm Stewart's Tigers and Bob Wenzel's Scarlet Knights get finished battling here in Columbia.
I guess when you coach for 29 years, you can afford to be so collected in the huddle in a game like this. Of course, he's got to feel pretty comfortable with Lee Coward headed to the free throw line. Coward, an 86% free throw shooter on the year. These fans showed up here tonight, I think, to celebrate the #1 ranking for their Missouri Tigers. I don't think that anybody expected the kind of basketball game that they've seen tonight. Just a tremendous effort by Rutgers. Win or lose, it's got to be a great thing for Bob Wenzel to build on. You never like to lose as a coach, but certainly his players have to realize now that they can play with anybody in the country. To come into #1 on their home court, great effort.
Doug Smith on the inbounds play, fouled immediately by Keith Hughes. #1 on Hughes tonight, who's had an unbelievable night with 27 points.
And that will be the bonus now. That last foul was foul #6, so Coward not going to the free throw line.
But Smith is only a 67% shooter. Lee Perry back in for Rutgers as Jay McGinnis took a seat. the poor free throw shooting by the big man. Knights come away with it, down by 3. 15 seconds remaining. Hughes wants to tie it, but it's going to be an air ball.
He has been so good from three-point range all night. That one nowhere close. Nobody sees Bunton. He's alone under the other basket.
Smith to throw it in for Travis Ford. They beat him at half court. Ford with it. And a reach-in foul on Keith Hughes. Not intentional. It'll be a 1-and-1.
Hughes made a legitimate play at the basketball, and that's all you really have to do to prevent it from being an intentional foul. You know, if you're Bob Wenzel coming in here, you can see Bob asking his team to get a timeout, but all you can ask for is at the end of the game you're in a position where you can win the ball game, and they certainly were.
Rutgers with a timeout. 6 seconds remaining. Missouri at the line, up by 3.
$1 million
Wenzel, Scarlet Knights of Rutgers, giving Missouri all they can handle here tonight. Down by 3, but the Tigers have the ball at the line with the Big Eight's best free throw shooter. 6 seconds remaining as Travis Ford will step to the stripe.
The only hope for Rutgers right now is that Ford misses this first free throw. Rutgers doesn't have any timeouts left, I don't believe.
You are correct, Ford. 40 out of 45 this year.
So even if he makes one, that's 4 points. Rutgers goes down and scores. Missouri doesn't have to take the ball out of bounds. That's the game right there, because now even if Rutgers goes down and scores the three-pointer, Missouri doesn't even have to take the ball. They've got 5 seconds to inbound the ball. There's only 6 seconds left in the game.
Somebody holds up a sign that says start the bus. Tigers will be playing Matador defense here in a moment. Ford with his only 2 points of the night. Clock running. Duncan for 3. Short, and the game is over. Missouri 89, Rutgers 84, but what a great effort by the Knights on the road in Columbia.
It's something, Bob, that we certainly didn't expect. The Scarlet Knights doing a tremendous job. You mentioned they're down 2 of their regular players and still able to come in on the home court of the #1 team in the country and put on a display like that. Great effort by Rutgers.
A team that was missing from its starting lineup, 18 points and 9 rebounds, but they almost upset the #1 team of the nation. For Dan Bonner, Bob Carpenter from Columbia, back to Chris Fowler.
Thanks, Bob. Rutgers fans may be a little bit disappointed with the 8-10 record, but remember, they had a tough schedule and a very game effort against Missouri. Keith Hughes, the terrific night, but he may be left with only the memory of the air ball three-pointer that would have tied the game. We're going to go to Alabama, Tennessee, coming up in just a few minutes. Both teams 4-2 in the SEC. The tie with that